Young Thug accepts the plea, and he's the biggest name in this whole case. But there's still two other people that are still in the trial, one of which is your client, Yak Gotti. How did you guys feel after Young Thug took the plea deal?
Like, I won't really speak for Max Shart, but I think he felt the way I did, which is we have now inherited a ton of work because we had defense attorneys and teams of defense attorneys for 6 different defendants, all working together, all sharing the load, all backing each other up. And what we were looking at was all of a sudden now, for example, there were a bunch of allegations against Mr. Huey, right? He had pled out. He was represented by the Matthews, Karen and Matthews and his son. Everything about Mr. Huey, his attorneys, Mr. Matthews, knew it. They were prepared to cross those witnesses. They knew all the facts. But now, with only us there, we were going to have to get up to speed on all of that. We were going to have to be prepared to cross all those witnesses. So we inherited, even though the defendants went away, the allegations against those defendants did not necessarily go away. And at first the state said, well, we're still going to present our whole case. We're still going to present all that stuff against Mr. Huey. We're still going to present all that stuff against some of these other defendants. So we were looking at an avalanche of work. The good thing was all the other defense attorneys told us, look, we're here. We're going to back you up on everything. Any help you need, we're there for you. But we were looking at a lot of work.
Well, was Yak Gotti offered a reasonable plea deal at the same time the Young Thug was, or not really?
I don't think it was reasonable. Maybe one could argue that the time served was reasonable, but they wanted him to take responsibility for the death of Donovan Thomas. And Yak had nothing to do with Donovan Thomas's death. And he was firm. I'm not pleading guilty to something I had nothing to do with. And that was it. That was the stopper. That's why we couldn't reach a deal.
Okay, so was he offered time served if he admitted to the murder?
No. He would still have to serve time in prison. But he said to me, I have faith in you. You can do this. I think we're winning. Let's do it. Let's take it. Let's take it to trial. Let's take it all the way to the jury.
Okay, so what specifically was the plea deal for Yak Gotti?
I believe that they were offering him, 15 years to serve. I don't remember the total number, but it was 15 years to serve. And he'd already been in there 2.5 years. With probation, he'd probably be in prison another, 8 or 9 years of prison time as he was looking at. But honestly, the main stopper was just a principled decision that he was not going to take responsibility for Donovan Thomas's death when he had nothing to do with it.
Okay, so Young Thug walks out of jail. Yak Gotti and Shannon Stillwell still have their trial left to finish. But right before we get to the end of that process, a video gets released of Yak Gotti in an interrogation room, actually multiple interrogation rooms, where he is mentioning various people like Young Thug and so forth. When that video got released, what was the effect with you two?
For me, it just kind of pissed me off more than anything. I thought the individual that released it was just doing it for clickbait. I think it had partially or been previously leaked before. I don't recall. I think it had, but to bring it up again now was uncalled for, unnecessary, and I thought it was just a crappy thing to do. I wasn't happy about it. Diamante was more, it is what it is. Let's focus on the trial. Let's get to the jury verdict. Don't worry about it. Like, okay.
Well, but right after it got released, Yak Gotti got stabbed in jail.
Well, I don't know if it was related to that or not, but there was an altercation and he did get stabbed. If you're in Rice Street for 2.5 years and you're alleged to be in a gang, there's going to be altercations. And that's what happened with Diamante. That's what happened with Yak Gotti.
Okay. So when he had other altercations in jail as well, right?
He did. He did. That's why he's still sitting there.
Right. There's like 2 or 3 different fights that happened.
Oh, there was one earlier fight that happened that they're charging him with aggravated assault.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a felony, right?
It's a felony that carries basically 20 years.